Everything you're holding on to, I know how it ends. You're out of your league, Ant-Man.
Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man. You have a chance. The chance to earn that look in your daughter's eyes. To become the hero that she already thinks you are. Second chances don't come around all that much.
Is this an old message?
It's the front gate.
Time works differently in the quantum realm. What if we could enter at a certain point in time, but then exit at another point in time? We could bring everyone back. My whole life happened because I messed up. Not everybody gets a chance to save the world. Avengers! Assemble.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel dropped a new Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. There's more trailers, I think, coming next week and the week after that. Marvel just had their big Brazil Comic-Con CCXP panel. That's why it feels like Trailer Fest this week with a bunch of Marvel, Star Wars, Disney-related trailers. I will do videos for some of the other stuff that dropped recently as well, too. But the big thing in this trailer is they just hype up more of the interaction between Kang the Conqueror and Ant-Man. I love the way that he checks Ant-Man during their conversation there, where he's like, "You're out of your depth, you're out of your league, Ant-Man." There's a bunch of extra footage that they put in the D23 trailer that they didn't release online that isn't in this or the previous online trailer, where basically Ant-Man shows up and tells him, "I'm an Avenger, like you should be afraid because I just defeated Thanos with the rest of the Avengers in Endgame." And this is basically Kang telling him that that means nothing to him. Thanos was nothing to him. Because you remember a little while ago, we saw the Loki Season 1 episodes. I did a bunch of videos for it, so I'll link those below in the description, and the Loki Season 2 trailer, because we'll see another version of Kang. But during that, we saw the TVA, which is sort of like their version of Kang's Chronopolis from the comics, or Immortus's Chronopolis, which is like the last version of Kang from the end of his timeline, He Who Remains. And in that, they showed you how he had rendered all the different Infinity Stones from different timelines completely inert, like they were no threat to him at all. During all of Paul Rudd's interviews during this Comic-Con event, he was wearing one of the Infinity Gauntlets, the Stark Tech Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's amazing. Amazing, really.
Which is a good point of reference because he just got done doing that. In the trailer, they have this funny joke at the beginning where they confuse him for Spider-Man because Spider-Man's way more famous. But the whole idea is that after Avengers Endgame, he's become way more famous. Like, he's riding very high. He benefited greatly from the fame that the Avengers got for saving the world. He's written a book, Look Out for the Little Guy. Things are going well with his relationship with Hope Van Dyne, with his daughter, Cassie Lang, who he's been reunited with, the much older version of Cassie Lang, who has been recasted. This is Katherine Newton playing the character. The reason why the actress changed is because the original actress during Avengers Endgame was cast by the Russos, and she decided to go to college, so I think she was unavailable. Also, Katherine Newton is a much bigger star, so there might have been just some behind-the-scenes stuff where they're like, you know what, if you're going to go to college, we'll just find a bigger actress to play the character. It's not quite the same thing with the Don Cheadle recasting of Rhodey War Machine. There wasn't any big drama or anything like that behind the scenes. Typically with the younger actors, like the child actors or the kids, if they want to go to college, they usually just take a couple of years off from acting and then come back to it. So they could always say that she's just a variant of Cassie Lang, like this was happening in another reality. So the idea is that when Ant-Man and the rest of them are sucked down into the quantum realm by Kang, trapped by Kang, Cassie is captured by him, and Ant-Man is forced to help him complete his device to leave the quantum realm so that he can win the Kang multiverse war and bring about the events of Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. Like, we know that movie's going to happen, so we know that he has to escape the quantum realm. Initially, when he's faced with this, he's so overconfident because of what they did defeating Thanos in Avengers Endgame that Kang completely smacks him upside the head metaphorically and literally probably too. Like, bitch please, I'm Kang the Conqueror, I don't care about Infinity Stones. Also, inside the quantum realm, they're protected from things like snaps because of the way the quantum realm exists relative to the rest of reality in the multiverse. The whole thing with the quantum realm is that it's sort of like the blood vessels of all of reality, all dimensions, all universes, all timelines. One single place where you can control all of time, all of reality, which is why Kang wants it so badly. But the whole idea is that he's been trapped down there. Like, when he traveled down there, something happened to trap him. It seems like his ship was destroyed or partially destroyed, because if you look at this red energy that Ant-Man flies to when Kang tells him that he has a special mission for him, like, you have to steal something from me and I'll give you back Cassie Lang. I can give you more time, quote unquote, which is a reference to the 5 years that he lost with his daughter. It seems like something happened with Kang's first ship, because this just looks like his technology and this red energy arcing all over the place, all those broken pieces. It looks like reality is fractured, time has fractured. Something about this place has rendered it so dangerous that Kang has been sending other people to try and get something that he needs from it. These seem like Ant-Man from different parts of his timeline, and you're gonna see a couple of them die. Like, everybody makes jokes about Ant-Man dying during this one because Kang is so swole.
What's your definition on this, brother? All right, here we go. Watch this. You ain't never seen nothing like that before. And that's down to the intensity and how hard he trains, his work ethic. That's enough about Jay.
Jonathan Majors worked out hardcore for this. The reality is that they wanted to have their cake and eat it too, which is why you have variants, like the whole concept of variants. You can kill a whole bunch of them, and the real one still winds up making it to the next movie. So both Kang and both our main version of Ant-Man will make it out of this movie alive. But not every single variant of Ant-Man. In the D23 trailer, Kang says, "Have I killed you before?" when he says that he's an Avenger, meaning that he's already killed many versions of Ant-Man and many versions of the Avengers. It's just a reference to him being Kang the Conqueror, like, oh, I've been to many other timelines, I've conquered them, many other universes, I've conquered them, and I've killed all these other versions of Avengers. It's also a bit of a sly reference to this scene too, where it seems like he sends Ant-Man to steal this device from his wrecked ship, and a bunch of them wind up dying. If you zoom and enhance on this scene, you can actually see there are hundreds of variants of Ant-Man in the background, like tons and tons of Ant-Man. So the joke is, army of ants, it's an army of ants men. The reason why this is the first official movie in Marvel Phase 5 is because it's establishing Kang the Conqueror as like the preeminent threat in the MCU, like the next big threat after Thanos, but someone who's way, way worse than Thanos. Relevant side note, this is also Kang from the comics showing you how powerful he is, using his power over time to kill Thanos on the spot. Speeding up Thanos' own personal timeline in a localized area here so that he ages eons in seconds. So this movie is just meant to show you why he's so much more dangerous than Thanos to the MCU, because it's like the very beginning of Marvel Phase 5, and they want to show you why the Avengers just can't roll over him right away. Like, why don't the Avengers just defeat him right now? Because he's such a badass. One of the other big things too is that he was stuck in the quantum realm for 30 plus years since Janet Van Dyne escaped, but time moves a little bit differently, so he's been stuck down there way longer. Remember, his real name is Nathaniel Richards. He was born in the very, very distant future, like thousands of years in the future. He started out as a normal scientist before he became Kang the Conqueror and then traveled into the quantum realm. But because of the way time works, because of when he came back in time, he met Janet Van Dyne when she was stuck down there, and they worked together because they're both geniuses to try and escape until Janet Van Dyne found out what he was planning on doing, then left him stranded and was able to detect Hank Pym's signal and escape before Kang found them. But in the time since that's happened, he's found a way to detect any kind of signals like that, so when he detects Cassie Lang's signal, he just yoinks them down into the quantum realm to force them to help him escape. People have said it's weird that Janet Van Dyne withheld that information, but I think the idea is that she never thought that they would go back down to the quantum realm, so it would never be a potential threat. The whole idea with Cassie Lang is that she's going to become a version of Stinger during the movie. That's why she's wearing the purple suit from the comics. Her powers are very similar to the Wasp powers. That's why her suit is kind of like the Wasp suit. She's meant to be a chip off the old block, and one of the jokes about Ant-Man is that he's a little bit like Spider-Man in that they both cause a lot of the own problems that they wind up having to solve during their adventures. Like Ant-Man winds up getting himself into a whole bunch of trouble, and that winds up being the plot of the movie. Cassie Lang is doing the same thing, like she's almost too smart for her own good. Curiosity killed the cat, so to speak. Curiosity freed the Kang, the Conqueror. Jonathan Majors did say we would see many different variants of Kang across Marvel Phase 5 and Marvel Phase 6 before Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. We'll also probably see a bunch of variants of him during Kang Dynasty as well. I know there's lots of theories about variants of Kang pretending to be other people, like you have Iron Lad in the comics, who's like a young version of Kang. It is possible that that will happen in the future MCU Marvel Phase 5 movies, Marvel Phase 6. I think what'll happen is we'll find out later that like a couple Kang variants have been hiding out in the MCU by the time we get to Kang Dynasty. Like a lot of them won't be revealed until Kang Dynasty. That movie is meant to be a little bit closer to the plot of Avengers Kang War, which is a little bit different. Like the roster of new Avengers will be similar to the new Avengers that we see in the MCU. But they're changing some of the plot to just fit with what they've already done in the MCU so far, so that all the continuity works out. And the whole idea with them doing Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars back-to-back is that they're doing the same thing that they did with Infinity War and Avengers Endgame with the big time jump in the downer ending for Infinity War. That's why I think at the end of Kang Dynasty, the Avengers will be unsuccessful. Kang will wind up winning, like Thanos wound up winning and snapping the Infinity Gauntlet at the end of Infinity War. He'll wind up collapsing all of reality, all timelines to one reality, like the Battle World reality with one world. Then when Secret Wars begins, that'll be closer to the plot of the more recent version of Secret Wars with some Easter eggs for the classic 80s Secret Wars. Also a couple of changes just to fit with what they're doing in the MCU, because there'll be like a lot of characters that they won't be able to include in the movie version. Then like the comic book version of Secret Wars, at the end of that, they'll fix the multiverse, so to speak. With a couple of changes probably, because I think a lot of the X-Men stuff that Kevin Feige is building up to, like the new X-Men movie, the core X-Men characters, we'll see after Secret Wars. And a lot of what will happen will be the result of what happens during Secret Wars. Like, oh, all these X-Men are showing up out of nowhere. It's because we fixed the multiverse, but we didn't fix it perfectly. Like, there were a couple extra changes. He did say at Brazil Comic-Con that we'll see more mutants during Marvel Phase 5 and Marvel Phase 6, but he dodged the question on X-Men specifically. So he's using the term mutant differently from X-Men. When you're talking about X-Men, usually you're just talking about the core team. Like, really good example is Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, core X-Men character, but we know he's coming from the multiverse. So I think the idea is that they're going to recast a lot of the X-Men characters, not every single one, but a lot of them, and a lot of them we won't see till after Secret Wars. But there'll be a couple that we'll see before that. If you spotted any other Easter eggs during this that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. I've done a couple other videos. I talked about Bill Murray's character, so I'll link that at the end of this. I'm working on an Indiana Jones 5 Dial of Destiny trailer video. There were a couple other trailers like Transformers Rise of the Beast. I'll try to do videos for all that stuff. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss it. And if you do have any requests, just post them in the comments below. Everyone click here for my Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer video, and click here for that other Ant-Man 3 Quantumania trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.